I'm Barry Trammell, and it's still early in the college football season, but we've got some games that could have national championship implications.
Yeah, it seems to be that way every week, but we've got a good round of them this week, and we're going to talk about that here on the Press Row. From the Opopco Studios, I'm Jenny Carlson. Press Row is brought to you by Cox High-Speed Internet.
It's a pop quiz from Cox. Your kids have the gadgets, but what do they really need to shoot to the top of the class? This great deal on Cox blazing fast high-speed internet. Get it today at the Cool in School sale from Cox.
Barry, let's start with this SEC matchup. SEC got an early start on conference play already, have a game in the books, but LSU goes to Mississippi State. Tough place to play in Starkville, but Tigers look pretty darn good.
Well, they do, and here's the lesson to learn. Last year in September, on a Thursday night, Auburn, with a new quarterback none of us had much heard of, Cam Newton, goes to Mississippi State, grinds out a 17-14 victory. Auburn went on to win the national title. Now another Thursday night, LSU goes to Mississippi State. The Tigers are loaded. They're really good. This is one of those hurdles, though. LSU is a national caliber type team. They could win the national title, but those SEC teams each have 4 conference road games. Tough to win on the SEC road. Can they win at Starkville? I think the answer is yes. But just like Auburn a year ago, it won't be easy.
Yeah, and LSU, you talk about these tough SEC road games. They're playing a pretty tough non-conference schedule, too. I guess Les Miles didn't get the memo saying, hey, SEC competition's so tough, you don't really have to play anybody that difficult in the non-conference, because they've got a really tough non-conference schedule, too, obviously opening with that game against Oregon. But, yeah, Starkville, tough place to play. Mississippi State, a heartbreaker over the weekend. I like LSU in this game. I think they keep the national championship wheels turning. But obviously in the SEC, you got to bring it every week, and this is where it starts for LSU. Barry, let's talk about a game involving a Big 12 team that'll be of interest to people around here. Texas goes to UCLA. UCLA was the game a year ago that sort of started the Longhorns' demise. We thought, maybe this is just a bump in the road. It turned out that was actually the Longhorn team that we were going to get last year.
UCLA exposed Texas last year, and no doubt about it. This year, UCLA does not seem any better. Bruins will go to Houston and get beat San Jose State last week. Texas, at least, has made a quarterback change. Texas survives Brigham Young by going to the young quarterbacks, Case McCoy and David Ash, rotating there after the first quarter to get by BYU. I think Texas will have trouble just from the road game aspect. I don't think UCLA is great guns. I don't think UCLA is a mano-mano type of team. But I do think Texas will struggle on the road because of poor quarterback play. I think the young quarterbacks for the Longhorns are promising, but I think it's going to be a difficult assignment to go out to a Pac-12 school on the road and win. I think UCLA gets Texas in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Texas, but everything in my head says that I shouldn't, because after watching the way Texas operated in that win against BYU, throwing different quarterbacks in there and one play after another, I mean, it's one thing to platoon quarterbacks when they're a little more experienced, but to have these really young guys in there platooning, I can't imagine that that's really what you want to do long term. I think Texas needs to find a quarterback, settle on him, and just move ahead. I just can't see how this works long term. Now, it did win against BYU, but only by a point on your home field. I think you got to figure out what you want to do. That McCoy to Shipley connection, we've seen that before. It was the older brothers before, now the younger brothers. Maybe that's the way you want to go. It seemed to work pretty well previously. Maybe you want to stick with it. I'm going Longhorns. Like I said, I still think Texas has got problems, but I'll pick them to win at UCLA. Lastly, let's talk about the Michigan State game at Notre Dame. Michigan State looking good early. Notre Dame, craziness with the folks from South Bend. How do you see this Michigan State-Notre Dame game going?
Well, it looks to me like Brian Kelly is going to yell and cuss at his players. That's what he seems to do every week. I guess they don't mind that too bad in South Bend. Probably if you're winning, they allow it a little bit more. But what a disastrous start to Brian Kelly's first year in 2 games. 2 games into the 2011 season, Notre Dame should have won them both. But they lost to South Florida with a bevy of turnovers. They lose to Michigan with a fourth quarter collapse. And now this is a program that's virtually eliminated from BCS consideration, which is what the Notre Dame program is sort of built around. So it's one big mess in South Bend. I think Michigan State is a solid program, tied for the Big Ten title last year. Mark D'Antonio has done a nice job. I think Michigan State goes to South Bend and sends the Irish to 0-3.
Yeah, after the way Michigan State started the year, I wasn't real impressed with their opener. They won pretty easily, but not great competition. So, you're sort of wondering, how's this Michigan State team going to be? But they played much better week 2, and I agree. I think they go to South Bend and get the win. It's going to obviously be tough, but you got to think people around this Notre Dame program are really starting to wonder, is this the right direction for the program? Not only are you not winning games, but as Barry mentioned, you got your coach ranting and raving on the sidelines. And, Brian Kelly said after week 1, I guess I have to realize I'm on camera all the time. Well, when you are stark raving mad like he is sometimes, you're going to draw the attention of the cameras. I don't think there's any two ways around that. So I have to think people around South Bend are just, there's going to have to be some quick turnaround, or the crowd, the numbers, just the enthusiasm. It's got to be on the decline. And I think Michigan State's a legitimate program. It looks like Wisconsin, to me, is by far the class of the Big Ten, but Michigan State might be the team that could most give Wisconsin a run for their money in the Big Ten. I think Michigan State goes to Notre Dame, wins, and I think they win pretty easily, Barry. Hey, stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.